Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC weekend review. Call it what you may. First NBC Bank has 31 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. Do your banking at First NBC Bank. It's a busy time in basketball. Hornets back home. Wednesday night game, of course, they take on a pretty good team in the Boston Celtics, who almost ended the Heat's win streak a couple of nights ago.
I tell you what, that was a captivating game to watch, and I haven't seen ratings from it in terms of what happened, but you know, the Heat streak has really become a point of discussion here. By the way, the Heat come to the arena next Friday night. Forget about it if you want to go. It's already a sellout. It might be the one sellout remaining this year for the Hornets / Pelicans, but it's you know, it is certainly captivated a lot of conversation out there in terms of, you know, I vaguely remember those days when I was 6, 7 years old when the Lakers won 33 in a row. I remember getting beat by the Bucks on a Sunday afternoon on ABC. I'm aging myself there, I guess. But you know, it was a great game Monday night. I mean, the Heat with a remarkable comeback, 13 down, 8 minutes left. Be interesting to see how the Celtics respond off of that kind of loss Wednesday night. The Hornets, in the midst of their longest homestand of the year, you're really just playing out the string at this point, you would think.
Well, the Hornets 3-12 since the All-Star break have been nowhere near the kind of team you hope they would be, and we'll see what happens the rest of the way. College basketball galore. Tulane men are playing in a tournament that a lot of people aren't familiar with.
Yeah, it's the CIT, the collegeinsider.com tournament. South Alabama comes into Devlin Fieldhouse Wednesday night. There's no bracket for this thing at this point, so don't know who Tulane's going to play if they happen to win Wednesday night. Stay tuned to sportsnola.com. As soon as we know, we'll tell you. Tulane women back in the women's NIT again. They will be at home against Sam Houston State on Thursday night, so back-to-back postseason home games on Ferret Street.
A lot of people asking, well, why isn't LSU in the CIT? Well, because of the timing of everything. They were a better team than Tulane and certainly would deserve a postseason bid more so than Tulane, but the timing of it simply didn't allow.
Yeah, and I think basically they said it was NIT or bust, too. And they were probably one of the first couple of teams that got left out of the NIT. And you know, with some of these lower tournaments, it's a different dynamic in place in terms of how they select the field. They aren't necessarily picking the 32 best teams per se. Obviously, Tulane got invited and knew their matchup on Friday, so it wasn't like they were waiting for the NCAA and NIT to be done. They were already putting some things in place, and you know, LSU's season is over, but you got to be encouraged with what Johnny Jones did in year one.
No doubt. You mentioned the Tulane women playing in the NWIT. And the LSU women, a 6th seed, they get to play at home, though, in the NCAA tournament, which is a big plus for them.
Yeah, and you know, but it's the two draws that they're looking at potentially are interesting here. First of all, in the first round, they played Green Bay, an 11 seed, who's ranked 20th in the polls right now. They lost 2 games all year. They're probably, you know, a lot like maybe what Middle Tennessee is on the men's side. Now, of course, Middle Tennessee went out and got beat Tuesday night, but you know, that type of thing. You're playing in a little bit of a lesser league, so a gaudy record doesn't warrant as great a seeding as you might otherwise have. And the interesting part is if LSU wins, they're most likely looking at Penn State in the second round, a team they played last year in the second round in Baton Rouge and got beat. So it's a rematch situation there. It would be a 3-6 game. Who knows? Maybe LSU could pull the upset on their home court and advance to the Sweet 16.
Speaking of upsets, 2 Louisiana teams in the men's NCAA tournament, and both would be considered monumental upsets if they could win, or either one, for that matter. The Demons of Northwestern State and the Jaguars of Southern, both with good records.
Yeah, good to see multiple teams from Louisiana back in the NCAAs for the first time since 2006. And, you know, look back, it was 20 years ago this week that Louisiana had 5 teams in the NCAAs, including Tulane, UNO, and LSU. Those days are, you know, long ago now. But, you know, I give Northwestern a fighter's chance against Florida. The one thing that you look for this time of year when you're trying to pick upsets and you're trying to pick, you know, that surprise team, if you will, is somebody that's going to play maybe a different style than what you're used to seeing. Northwestern leads the nation in scoring. They like to get up and down, like to get shots up quickly, like to turn it into a frenetic pace. You know, teams like that are the types of teams that can maybe pull a surprise in the first round of the tournament. Remember, 2006, Northwestern as a 14 beat a 3rd seed in Iowa in the first round, one of the greatest upsets in NCAA tournament history. Southern is a 16 seed, and of course we know a 16 has never beaten a 1. And Gonzaga, the lowest of the ones in all likelihood, but still, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a very tall task for Roman Banks' team. The thing you got to be impressed with is how quickly he has kind of restored the roar, if you will, to the Jaguar program.
And finally, all quiet on the Western Front, at least for the time being, with the Saints. Nnamdi Asomugha still the soup du jour. We'll see if anything does come of that and whether or not it's a good move or not, if it does happen. But free agency is a fluid situation. Things could change in the next 24 hours.
Or 24 minutes even. It can be very quick, and interesting to see Asomugha come in here. Hey, he's a guy, he was born in Lafayette, so he's got some ties to Louisiana, moved away from Louisiana at an early age, but still, probably the real tie that could potentially bind here is the fact that he played for Rob Ryan in Oakland. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Can they make it work, stay under the cap? We'll see.
Lenny, it's always a pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Hey, I'll be watching some March Madness. We'll see you Monday.
You got it. All right, that is our First NBC Bank review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, 31 locations throughout South Louisiana and beyond. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. God bless you.